I wanted to stream Final Fantasy IX on Go to Bedcast for a long while now, and I was waiting for the Switch port to do so. What about FF9?
Will journey onto Nintendo Switch.
Oh.
Yeah, let's go!
There you go.
Unfortunately, the port wasn't up to snuff with what I was hoping for. This is going to be a review of every version of Final Fantasy IX that's currently available. The two different major versions of Final Fantasy IX available are the PSX version, which would be the original, and then the modern port, which is available on phones, PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch. This is my favorite Final Fantasy game, so I'm sorry if I sound nitpicky. These are my recommendations only. Some reasons you may find reasonable, but some may just sound really nitpicky. Everything I'm gonna say about the Android and PC version is going to be identical to the PS4, Xbox, and Switch version unless stated otherwise. And likewise, anything that's added or changed in the PS4 version transfers over to the Switch and Xbox version. And while I am gonna get picky, I don't think there is a necessarily wrong way to play Final Fantasy IX as long as you enjoy playing the game. Let's start with a look at the PSX version and some relevant facts about it. For example, when you play this game on a good CRT, the backgrounds look phenomenal. Many PSX games, including FF9, use this dithering effect. And basically, these PSX games use dithering so that they can get more detail on a CRT TV. So when you play the PSX version on a pixel-perfect screen, the game will look a little rough due to the dithering. But anyways, the PSX version of Final Fantasy IX also has complete analog movement. The PSX version also had multiplayer. Yeah, you could pick which characters each controller controlled. So while I love Final Fantasy IX, I gotta acknowledge that people generally think of it as a slow game, and it's because of some of these reasons, such as the load times, there's a really high encounter rate, and the battle camera. Anytime you start a battle, you've gotta wait this long before the fight. Now, I would recommend the PSX version if you really are looking for the original authentic experience of the game, and whether or not you have a CRT or you prefer the original aesthetic. So first came the Android port, and then the Android port was put on PC, and this is not the first time Square has done this. So don't get me wrong, there are great things that the modern port does. It does not lose its entire identity like Final Fantasy VI does on PC, but I do want to get the issues out of the way first, starting with the backgrounds. These are the high-resolution backgrounds of the Android and Steam version. Now, alright, so these could have looked fine on your tiny phone, but they do not look good on any other platform. Now, what hurts me about this is when people look at this and think, man, these old games sure looked worse than I remember, but I can't point my camera at a CRT to show you how good the backgrounds do look. Visuals for games like this didn't look that bad back then, but your modern display is not the display the game was designed for. But hey, stay tuned to the end of this video because we have a solution to this problem along with a few other problems I'm about to mention. The UI is gutted for touchscreen design and has this really ugly typeface. But hey, it's 1080p. Analog movement is gone. Now you have 8-way movement, and the direction you move in depends on the background like in Final Fantasy VII, and I had found that this gets really frustrating after several hours. Menus are 30 FPS and feel kinda laggy, so really that just means you can't do sick menuing like this. Multiplayer was removed. Field music resets after battles for some reason. Apparently this was also an issue in the Final Fantasy X port to PC, but it was patched out, so I don't know where that patch is for Final Fantasy IX. And for whatever reason, the default sample rate of audio is really low. So the vanilla quality of audio is just worse. It's worse than the original. You have to mod the game to turn up the sample rate. But also in the sound department, the original sound effects are just gone anyways. But anyways, I'm done complaining for a little bit. Let's take a look at some cool things that the modern port does. For example, higher res models. You can skip the battle opening camera. There's a lower encounter rate. It's got cloud saves. Got higher resolution pre-rendered FMVs that are also now skippable. You got your achievements. The game auto-saves after every cutscene or every new screen you move to. Loading is way faster. The character naming screens look pretty spiffy. And you got plenty of language options. And one of my favorite things about the modern port are the enhancements. And these enhancements can be pretty dope if you're like an adult and you don't have, you know, time. So you can pause the game and toggle these options to speed up, do maximum damage, refill health, magic, and trance, and disable random encounters. Then there's permanent boosters, which are ones that I stay away from, but I guess they're there. These permanent boosters allow you to max out your level, gil, ability, and magic stones. I would recommend the modern port on the basis of its quality of life changes and availability on your desired platforms. The PS4 version is what I played on my second playthrough. The first big difference that you might notice is that they rotate and stretch the 4x3 sidebars. Alright, well, there's also a little more anti-aliasing going on. And for some reason, after you beat the game, you can play poker, and they remove the ability to set custom controls, which is a feature that's been there since the original version. Now, you may notice that the UI is a little different from the PC version. That's because the PS4 version actually got a patch that changed the UI so that it takes less space up and doesn't look as much like a touchscreen interface. And then the Xbox and Switch versions of the game shipped with this patch. However, this patch did not come to PC for some reason. Now, don't get me wrong, it's serviceable, but I was really expecting Square to, like, I don't know, fix some things, improve on things. When the Switch version came out, I started tuning into some streams of people that had already bought it and were reviewing it or just going over it. And based off that research, I decided I didn't want to buy it even. There's 3 unique issues to the Switch version that I gathered from my research. It has the worst load time of all the modern versions, not worse than the original though, but apparently the game also crashes on you, albeit people are saying this isn't so bad, because the crashes don't happen in battle, and remember that the game autosaves every time you move to a new screen or finish a cutscene. So when the game crashes, it just loads you right back where you were. But lastly, the resolution. The game on Switch is 720p. So then yeah, with the Switch version, you've got load times, minor nuisance crashes, and the visuals aren't as sharp as they should be. And if you think those things are worth trading off for portability and you don't have the phone for it, then maybe the Switch version is for you. I just don't think this version is for me. Although it is possible that these things could be patched in the future, but until then, I'm planning to stick to PC. However, I do think there was a seriously missed opportunity to bring back the multiplayer feature for the Switch version. How cool would it have been if they brought it back and with each Joy-Con you can control different characters? I really think if it had shipped with multiplayer, it would have given the Switch version something like, you know, really unique and something that would have almost made up for all the faults it has. Now, there is one big critique that most people have with the modern port of Final Fantasy IX, and that is how jarring the high poly models look on the really messy pixelated backgrounds. But thanks to the modding community of the game, I think we have a solution to this. But first, a little history lesson for you. Citing Alex Donaldson, the founder of RPG Site, Square lost a lot of original source work for many different games back during the 90s because they didn't back things up. And according to Tetsuya Nomura, this had actually gone on until Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts 1 was created long time ago. Actually, the original data was missing already, was lost. Had to research and we had to dig out from the actual games available and recreate everything for HD.
So in the case of Final Fantasy IX, the original beautiful backgrounds were lost. Now the ones I'm showing you right now are from Jake Rowell's portfolio that's available online. Koichiro Sakamoto, director of the Android port, in an interview with VentureBeat, had said that when original data was missing, they had to recreate things from scratch, and states that the backgrounds used in the Android port were from original PlayStation data, not the source images. However, we're living in the year 2019 and we have AI image upscaling, so we don't gotta live with this. We can retain not only good quality backgrounds, but ones that leave the original art style perfectly intact. Introducing the Magiri mod by ZipPilot. This mod is primarily AI enhanced backgrounds. In the description, I'm gonna leave a link to the Magiri mod website, where you can see more comparisons and see how ZipPilot went about making the mod. By default, the original typeface is also replaced with a much better looking one, and also by default you get actual analog support back. The Magiri mod also by default includes some fan-made orchestrated music, but I'd rather turn this off and just have the original score. The Magiri mod also includes the Memoria mod, which enables you to tweak and customize the game. So in your Final Fantasy IX folder, you will find some options you should see in an INI file. This includes optional widescreen, which sometimes can look nice, but also sometimes just doesn't work at all, so I wouldn't recommend it. You can disable the cheat enhancements entirely, though by default they are actually disabled, so if you want them enabled, you're gonna have to go in and turn them back on. And there's also hotkeys for saving and loading anywhere in the game. It also boasts custom FPS in battle, but it actually just like speeds it up, and the original frame rate is 15. So if battles look sped up, that's why. Really, given Square's past with mods, they could just use these mods officially without permission, and I honestly do believe that AI-enhanced backgrounds for these PSX games are the future compared to standard image scaling techniques we see today. Because if you think the Final Fantasy IX background enhancements look impressive, you should check out the Final Fantasy VII ones and the Resident Evil ones. These are beautiful, and I really hope in the future these start being used officially. Alright, now let's have a quick recap here. You've got the PSX version if you want the authentic original experience, or you have the modern port, which is available on phones, PC, PS4, Xbox, and Switch. And this version would be for your desired platform or the quality of life changes. Just keep in mind the differences that are between the versions. However, we got mods on PC that offer both a better visual and controlling experience than any of the other versions of the modern port. Thank you for watching. I am planning on doing a version of this for Final Fantasy VII soon when that releases on Switch and we see how that port is, but in the meantime, thank you for watching.